The Unscrewed Mind.
Welcome to the Unscrewed Mind, episode number 38. We're going to be talking about a Neville Goddard speech or talk that he gave on the radio called Imagination We Become.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty interesting. It's going to have some information that will help everyone change the way their life is today, but only if you can believe it. That's the main key.
True.
And with all of Neville's work, it is, and all of the law of attraction, all of spirituality, is your faith is the main key to your desires. Your faith is your fortune is another one, but it really is.
Neville starts with this story about a dear friend of his, and he uses this to kind of paint the picture of how important imagination is in everyday circumstances. So it's important. I think it's important to start where he started, and then the rest of the conversation just kind of goes from there.
Wait, before we start, think in your mind right now, if you're listening to this, do you have someone that's in your life that you always feel like the relationship is incorrect, or you're always butting heads, or you feel like the person is thinking negatively about you? If you know what I'm talking about when I say that, or if somebody pops into your mind that you feel that way about, listen to this story and apply it to that person as Matt reads it.
Yep. So let me tell you the story of a very dear friend of mine. At the time, the costume designer of the music hall in New York. She told me one day of her difficulty in working with one of the producers who invariably criticized and rejected her best work unjustly, that he was often rude and seemed deliberately unfair to her. Now, upon hearing her story, I reminded her, as I'm reminding you, that man can only echo to us that which we whisper to them in secret. I had no doubt but that she silently argued with the producer, not in the flesh, but in quiet moments to herself. She confessed that she did just that each morning as she walked to work. I asked her to change her attitude toward him, to assume that he was congratulating her on her fine designs, and she in turn was thanking him for his praise and kindness. The young designer took my advice, and as she walked to the theater, she imagined a perfect relationship of the producer praising her work and she in turn responding with gratitude for his appreciation. This she did morning after morning, and in a very short while she discovered for herself that her own attitude determined the scenery of her existence. The behavior of the producer completely reversed itself. He became the most pleasant professional employer she had encountered. His behavior merely echoed the changes that she had whispered within herself. What she did was, by the power of imagination, her fantasy led his, and she herself dictated to him the discourse they eventually had together at the time she was seemingly walking alone. Wow.
Yeah.
TLDR, her opinion of the situation walking into it was what was determining the situation. She changed her opinion and imagined it going a different way, and lo and behold, it started going a different way. So did the producer change? Did she change? Like, who solved the problem, you know?
Well, I just think if you look across your life and you look at any situation where you were feeling bad about it, or you didn't like the situation that you were in, your thoughts constantly revolve around negative thoughts towards that thing. If you're in a job that you don't like, if you're not making enough money, any of that, you just keep thinking about it on a consistent basis, like it is in the story. She was doing it every single day. And then expecting a change when you can't change the way that you think about something is just, it's crazy. Oh, I do need to say this. So on the subscribing, we would like you to like and subscribe, right?
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Yeah. Do we need that?
Like and subscribe. Yeah. I'll put it underneath. It'll pop up.
Gotcha. So we've got how many? We got 57 subscribers today,
57.
and we want to hit 100 very soon. So if you guys could help us out, we would love your support. And hopefully, you found some of the information in today's video useful. Appreciate, and we appreciate you watching.
Let me tell you, I'm going to imagine everyone that watches this
Clicking
forwards
like.
it to someone that they really care about, and they liked it, and they do the same thing. I'm just going to imagine, you know what? I'm not even going to go that far. I'm just going to imagine you and I congratulating each other on 100 million subscribers, and then let the rest happen as it happens.
Yes. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world, so 100 million is not that much.
It's really not. After this story, Neville kind of sets a challenge to everyone that could possibly read this or was listening to it on the radio in 1951. He says, "Let us set ourselves here and now a daily exercise of controlling your imagination." So that, we talked about it last week. That could be prayer. That could be meditation. It could also mean visualization. But he says right then and there, let's start now kind of building the life we want by imagining it first. And so this is a question that I wrote down and one that I have for you, Rusty. Like what's a goal that you have right now? And then what's a situation you could imagine that would be the fulfillment of it? And, that's something that you could do from here on out until that goal is realized.
That seems like a hard question. Hold on.
Is it? I'll go first.
No,
I have
no.
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I've been thinking, like, in my heart, I want to do something different as an occupation. Like, I want a different job.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier this week, you mentioned kind of in passing that there was something that could be available.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like in passing, but as we know, like, that could be the universe really kind of presenting you with something that you've been thinking about anyway. So my new goal is to obtain this position, right? So my imagined conversation is going to be with the person that I know is hiring for the position. And I'm not going to imagine anything leading up to it. I'm only going to imagine the fulfillment, which would be that person telling me that the job is mine and the feeling that I would get from being selected. So that's my goal, and that's my imagined state, and that's the realization that I'm going to have a situation that I'm going to be imagining from here on out until it happens.
Well, so thank you for that, and that sounds like a great goal. And I will tell you mine following up with that.
Yeah.
So for many years, I have had, I've tried different diets and I've done different things to lose weight, get in better shape. I've tried every single workout routine that exists. Done tons of different things. And, there's certain aspects I like about being a big guy. Okay.
Sure.
And so I always in the past would set my goal as a weight number.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so now I have a specific physique look in mind.
Yes.
Instead of a weight goal.
Uh-huh.
And it's really incredible. And this is a ongoing thing right now. This has been a goal for over a year now. And when people see me now that I haven't seen in a while, they're like, "You look like you've lost a lot of weight. You look like you're shaped different. What are you doing? What's different?" And the funny thing about it is I'm only 5 pounds different from when I originally started, 5 or 10 pounds, somewhere close there. But my physique is totally different. Clothes fit totally different. My strength is different. And subconsciously, I want to be the big guy still. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it's like I had a battle going on in my head But as what I found out is I can just choose a physique that I like the look of, but also, um, maintain being a big guy. Um,
Hmm.
and so that's really my biggest goal right now, and it's coming. It's been coming through for the last year and a half, and I feel so much better. I can do a lot more, and I'm just really proud of that up until this point. And it's been nice because I can see the progress of it. And it's really something that I want to bring to the channel and have other people follow as well because of how much impact I know that it has on a lot of people's life. Because as a society, I think we're stuck on numbers.
Hmm.
And I'm never, I never want to be my ideal weight that's set by, whatever that chart is. I don't ever want to be that weight. I really don't. I have no desire to be that.
Yeah.
So, I think that you just need to really look at how you set your goals and how you think about those goals, because subconsciously you're thinking something totally different than what you're writing down. And if you're not reprogramming that, you're going to be stuck and you're not going to understand why you're not moving because you've got conflicting forces inside of you. And I think that
Yep.
it plays directly into this Neville and really all of Neville's teachings. And it's all about what you imagine. And if you're constantly imagining yourself not getting there, and I see myself as the person that I want to be, and people have started making the comments to me, how much weight have you lost? And, what have you done? And I'm like, I really haven't lost
Like I've
that much
actually
weight.
gained weight. I've gained
Yeah.
weight.
Yeah. And so
So
it's
how,
just incredible.
so when you imagine yourself, is your imagination or your imagined state, are you walking around in that physique and people are like complimenting you and clapping? Like what's the
It's
scene?
No, it's just when I meet people and just they'll say, just make comments to me that go into that help with my goal for me, because I'm seeing people make comments in the real world, I guess you could say. And
Hmm.
but yeah, I do imagine getting compliments about it and that kind of thing. So you definitely, that's probably a bad thing, is I'm looking for a little bit of something outside of me to show you know progress on it, but it's there for sure.
Yeah. And Neville actually goes into detail, like how he gives you the recipe for success in this. If you, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the last YouTube video, I linked the like the PDF format so you could go see it. So I'll do the same thing for this one. But on page 2 for me, it's all one page if you're just on the website. But on page 2 for me, since it's a PDF, he asked the question, it's rhetorical. How can we do this? Do what my friend did. To establish rapport, call your friend mentally, focus your attention on him or her, and mentally call his name just as you would to attract their attention were you to see them on the street. Imagine that they answer, mentally hear the voice, imagine them telling you of the great good you have desired for him. So if I was going
Hmm.
to do this for you, I would imagine you telling me how good you feel in that new physique, you know?
Hmm.
And having mentally heard that which you wanted to hear, having thrilled to the news heard, go about your daily task. So it's
Yep.
that simple. It doesn't have to be, a lot of times, like, especially early, I'd get lost in this visualization where I'm like trying to imagine like what the chair would feel like or what the air would smell like or kind of what
Yeah.
like the temperature and hear birds and stuff. But really just needs to be, can I get to the feeling of being congratulated for the achievement of that which I want,
Hmm.
and someone close to me telling me that it is finished. I think that's important, that you don't make it more difficult than it really has to be. At what point do you think, and this might be it, and like this is a little bit of an aside, but at what point do you think we are conditioned to stop using our imagination? At what point are you taught that, get your head out of the clouds, focus, on what's real and stop trying to live out these fantasies and get a real job, like do something that is beneficial to society. Like when does that happen, and why is it okay to snuff the light of imagination out of someone? Is it because your imagination was snuffed out of you, and so it's only fair? Like this, it's learned, right? This is something that's learned.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think a lot of parents out there, will really push for their kids to be certain level of achievement in academics and things like that. And they start focusing on that over the child's actual desires or imaginative uh, imagination,
Mm-hmm.
dismissing things that they're talking about because of their own life experiences or how their parents taught them. And that was me somewhat prior to going full in on this. And I, I just see, I think that I've been very fortunate because my parents were very supportive of me throughout my life. And anything that I wanted to do, I was never told I couldn't do it or no or anything like that. So I'm very fortunate from that perspective. And, I think you just don't know how far it can actually take you. I think that's the real problem is you don't think that your imagination can take you to space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's possible because everything is possible.
The Unscrewed Mind.